Well, I'm already a mess. Not even out of bed yet. I'm already a mess. Hi, how you guys doing? Good morning. I'm Zen. Uh, good day. How you been? Did you sleep well? How was your dream world? Did you have dreams? Did you get out of body? Did you have any big glorious dreams? Did you rest well? Did you get into some deep delta healing breathing patterns, brainwaves? So I haven't really been perusing much of the internet for current events lately, because as per usual, what do we know about the news media? They tend to make mountains out of molehills. They tend to lie. They tend to exaggerate. They tend to make up stories. They tend to tell you the worst of things. And when we're told uh, terrible stories, our mind is basically an instrument for imagination. Yes, there is some memory recall aspects to it, but the majority of what our mind should be used for is imagination. When we hear things, we make up larger and more absurd stories that most of the time aren't true. We can make them true in the future if we'd like to. But we hear things, and then we have this habit as humans of going off half cocked and making bigger issues out of nonsense. And let me give you an example. I was reading a little post about something that happened in New Orleans. Imagine that there was a criminal activity that occurred. Somebody had gotten robbed. It's a city. These things happen. And the response of all the people in the comments was so bizarre and absurd. It was very reactionary response. And it's like when your mom freaks out or your auntie or whatever, and it's like, oh, everything's crazy, and like one bad thing happens, so therefore everything is bad everywhere all of the time. And it just goes to remind me of people's ability to be ignorant of something and then add into it the the way the body functions, the automatic atomic nervous system and all of its chemicals that play a part in that, and then add into it people's ignorances, and then the ability for the mind to create up fanciful stories that mean nothing. Somebody gets robbed, so therefore now, well, if we teach those criminals, then no more criminals will exist in the future. I mean, this weird thing that people think. Or now there's going to be a crime spree. One person decided to write something on Reddit. So then everybody's got to jump in and go, oh, there's a crime spree. Like, no, one person got robbed. This shit happens all the time in every city, everywhere, anywhere you go. These things happen. But now because this person decided to be, because it was in their neighborhood. It was in their neighborhood. Never been a crime in their neighborhood before, except I know exactly where it is. And on top of it, the more funny part is I can't tell you how many times I've read something in Reddit that I know to be absolutely a lie. I know that somebody posted it there and that it is untrue because as I'm reading it, I'm finding parts of it that I go, that doesn't line up, that doesn't link. And it's always the bigger posts. It's almost like it's fear mongering. And I'm not saying this person is fear mongering, but the idea that when people post something, when news media, when anybody tells you something, and then we have ignorance along with a heightened sense of fight or flight through adrenaline being pumped, through having a beta brainwave, through our atomic nervous system being out of control, plus ignorance, plus all of this. So now it's a stew of chemicals that make people so reactionary that most of the world, if people would just calm down, stupid things happen all the time. But if people's responses were a little more in line with reality, there'd be less ridiculousness. I mean, we cut, what is that? Don't worry, be happy kind of thing. You worry, you just cause double. This is what we're generally finding in the world, that most of what's going on, we're causing extra. It make it this illusion that's so much crazier and absurd than it is. Like that, and then on top of that, now let's heighten everything. So like we're quadrupling it, in fact, where people just calm down, like, wow, some things, bad things happen. Oops. Like it's not like you're living in the middle of Liberia, in some war-torn city. I don't know. I'm just saying you're not living there, are you? And most of the places you go, where you don't go. And most of the places that you live, and even in the major cities, there are people that live in major cities that is quite most people wouldn't live there, but some people do. They know where they are. You wouldn't go there, so don't go there. So there are so that's so the idea is stop treating one-off singular events as if, oh, but it said according to the statistics that there's more crime, more of this, more of that. Like, you believe every single one of those stories. Why are people still believing the news? Why are still people? Uh, Granted, dumb things happen. I'm just saying people's response is a major. Like it's almost like people's response then end up validating and verifying more ignorant, intolerant rules in the future that do nothing to alleviate the systemic dilemma of why criminal things would occur, which if anybody with a brain understands why. I mean, between accessibility to finances, resources, income disparaging things, education, access to food, clean water, health, like there's a bunch of things, house, there's a drug use, there's a lot of things that go into this, but going, oh, criminals. No, society produces criminals, you dummies. The society, the environment produces. There's no, go to where it's super cold. I'll bet you the types of criminal activity where it's super cold is different than where it's warm. You're never gonna get robbed on a beach in Alaska, are you? Ain't no beaches in Alaska, idiot. And you know what I mean? There are beaches in Alaska, but you know what I'm saying. Like the idea that an environment doesn't qualify for uh, criminal activities of certain, you know, it's changing society and changing the culture and changing the environment of things changes people's responses, behaviors. And we go, no, no, no. They're born a sinner. They're born into criminal. Look at it, it's a spawn of Satan. Nobody ever believes that. You have to know that everything is you can't grow a tomato in the northern parts of Russia, can you? It doesn't grow there unless you have a greenhouse, you know what I'm saying? That's like you're not growing citrus where it's cold. So people do not have certain types of behaviors grown in certain tribes. Interesting. No one showed up. I wonder why. 11 minutes. Interesting. Maybe I'll start a new show. A new show in a second because well, I'll keep this here, but I'll start a lot of times some people don't get notifications. There's that and this, that, or a different reason. So I'll just leave this here for now, and I'll do a part two of this because obviously, whenever I do the beginning, I expect people to show up, so that way we can have a discussion. Or else I'm just gonna sitting here rambling and talking to my stupid face there. So I'll talk to you guys in a second. We'll redub this.